Hello again, everyone. Welcome to the Lockeroom podcast. I'm Daryl Natil, and it's almost time to talk sports. Haven't talked sports in a while, but I got some of my good friends on tonight, and we're just going to do some things a little different tonight on the podcast. I'm trying to do some new quirks here and there, but we're going to try some new stuff. First of all, I want to introduce my guests tonight. One of my guests is hold up, let me get him in. Okay, one of my guests was a last minute guy because I had comedian Sean Banks on. Sean is on a flight coming from St. Louis, so I called my boy J Mac. J Mac, say hello to the folks.
How's it going, fellas? How's everybody?
Good
All
evening. Good
righty, man.
evening.
Tell us a little bit about what you do. I've seen you every time I'm on the sideline. I see you. Tell the folk what you do, man.
I'm the publisher, founder of Core 360 Sports. It's a um, niche sports, all sports kind of publication. We're on the web. We were in print for a number of years, covering NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, as well as college sports. Pretty much all college sports, and pretty much any sports in general, from boxing, UFC, you name it. We were covering it. Uh, I myself, I'm a writer and a photographer.
Mm-hmm.
Same, well, most of us are. We do double duty. So we've been
Okay.
covering sports for a better part of 21 years. Uh, Before that, I was the producer of the uh, HBCU Sports Channel for Black America Web. So give you some
Okay.
context. So that was from 2004 to 2009.
Mm-hmm. And you've taken a lot of pictures of athletes around Atlanta and HBCU, right?
Yeah. Before starting my own company, I was a member of a company called Four Shot Sports, and we covered high school athletes in football, basketball, and track and field for the better part of 4 years, from 1999 to 2005. And so if you see somebody that's playing in the NFL now that was in high school at that time, chances are we have photos of them um, from back when they were 14, like Charles Johnson. A lot of these guys are retired now because they're
Mm-hmm.
pushing 40. So
Yeah.
a lot of guys, from back then, when the internet was real, well, it wasn't young, but it wasn't as uh, everywhere ubiquitous as it is now.
You
So
talking about young. I got one of your best photos. Watch this one.
Who's that handsome guy?
On the sidelines back in 19, what, 2001 in
2001
in the rain
at Morris Brown College.
at
Yes,
Martin
sir.
Brown College. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did.
yeah.
I was Saul Brannon, who was the former NFL player and former head coach over at Morris Brown, uh, allowed me to come in and hone my craft shooting college sports at Morris Brown. And I shot their college sports, provided them with photos, and built their website for up until they closed. And so actually, I just published a book of all their photos from those last 2 years
I have that book.
of the they were in operation. And when I didn't go into too much detail of behind the scenes because I think that story has been told and we've moved on. But what they did to that program, the people who did that, and they're passed on now, was just ridiculous.
Okay.
The athletes, the students didn't deserve it. I'm a big supporter of what is going on over at Morris Brown now, because it shouldn't have happened in the beginning.
Okay. All right.
So
One of my next guests down at the bottom. We got to get him a little honey and tea because he's just coming from the conclave. You don't have a voice. I got Mr. Nick Rawls Sr. Say hello to the folks.
How y'all doing? Nick Rawls, Bethune-Cookman 95, 99, student athlete. I live with my family in Central Florida, where I own an insurance agency, multi-line agency, We cover basically any form of insurance you can think of in the state of Florida, um, and that's my short spill.
But you're one of three roles to play at Bethune-Cookman University. You got a son right now at BCU playing football at safety and cornerback, and your dad was a pitcher and a shortstop for the Wildcat baseball team.
Yeah, I am blessed to be a part of. I don't know how many three generation athletes Bethune Cookman College now University has, and I know when I was growing up, I always wanted to go to Bethune Cookman. Part of that is my parents were both there. My father was one of the really good baseball players in the late '60s, early '70s, back when I believe he was a part of one of the first conference championship teams for
Uh-huh.
the entire
That's
school.
right.
Wow.
He was a heck of a ball player, and when I was born, he put the first thing he put in my hand was a baseball, and I played baseball. Sheesh, probably just as soon as I could walk, I was throwing the ball around. And it's funny because as I got older, I always wanted to play football and other sports, but I was a bit smaller when I was coming up. So my dad and mom made the decision to kind of hold me out of football till I got older. And then, funny story, I kind of went and snuck and tried out for the football team in high school back when I was in the 10th grade, and I made the varsity squad. I was still a really
Mhm.
small kid, but I had decent speed, and I didn't know what I didn't know, so I wasn't scared of nothing. But then, I ended up getting an opportunity to go some places, and Bethune-Cookman happened to be one of the places that showed interest in me. And it was easy for me to make that decision between my parents and some other relatives that were there. And also, my grandmother lived a few blocks away on Garden Street in Daytona Beach. So that was it. And now, my wife, who's also a student athlete and graduate of Bethune-Cookman, she ran track there.
Oh, so
Uh,
it's four roles.
well, yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
all four Rawls athletes. Yes,
But
but
here,
ours,
but
but our middle child, our 19, he's 19 now. He's going into his second year at Bethune playing football. He's actually he had a pretty good year. He learned a lot last year. I think he went through a lot of the growing pains that those freshman student athlete kids do go through with the time restraints that playing a sport and having that freedom and all those meetings and workouts and all that kind of stuff. But again, he had a great opportunity in the fall. He got some playing time, got a few starts, made a few plays, and then he spent the spring and this summer just working his butt off to try to get ready for the fall. So we're super proud of him. And like I said, I think it's pretty awesome. My dad and I were talking about it, and I think it was last year, shortly after Nicholas, my son, committed, that we didn't really even think that wow, the third generation of Rawls men
mhm.
are going to be a part of that, that storied institution and with that rich history and tradition. And, it's pretty awesome. And we're proud of them.
Now, I got a couple of stories to tell. One about your son and one about your dad. I
Okay.
always tell you this. I know your dad's watching. I want everybody to hear this. The very first football game I ever saw in my life, I think I was 8 or 9 years old.
Uh-huh.
I went into the old Welch Memorial Stadium and I went up that ramp and I could smell the popcorn. And when I came up the ramp, I saw a guy wearing number 3 with a green helmet on playing for the Campbell Centipedes, throwing that football back and forth, back in the very first time I ever seen football for real. And
Oh,
it was your
wow.
dad playing quarterback for the Centipedes.
Yeah, I've heard those stories like repeatedly about how great a football player he was. He was just equally great at baseball, and I think he just loved baseball a little bit more than football. And he tells a story about when he got to Bethune, and he went out for football for a little bit, and he just decided that them big old jokers that was running at him full speed. He said, "Man, I'm gonna go over here and throw this baseball around the dime, and the little jokers leave me alone." But I have heard so many crazy stories about his arm, about because he was a really heavily recruited student athlete coming out of high school in baseball and football. And growing up, born in 1950, growing up in segregated times, every predominantly white institution that wanted him, they wanted him to play wide receiver. and all the HBCUs was at one day after they, he had wide receiver, quarterback, cornerback, but for the most part, the HBCUs wanted him to play quarterback, and ultimately, he decided that baseball was what he wanted to do, and he ended up being from what I'm hearing, he was a great, great, great baseball, big part of a lot of the success that they had back in the day.
In the words of you, he could spin it. He could
Yeah.
spin that football.
Well, outside of throwing that baseball with him in the backyard, we threw the football, and he would talk trash to me, about how his arm, when I was a kid, he still had heat on his fingers. You know what I mean? And so that baseball and that football jumped off his hand. He's the big reason why I was so competitive and just so feisty and just, I always fought hard to try to do my best to be the best at everything I was doing. He's literally the exact reason why I'm that way.
Yeah. And the story about Little Nick, remember we was playing the Florida Classic in Orlando, and end of the ball game, Fam threw a pass that went out of bounds. Me working sideline, I picked the ball up and I hit it from the FAMU ball boy. Guess where I hit it? I walked over to the stand and I slid it to Little Nick. Nick had to be
Oh, I didn't
9 years old,
know that.
and he
I
took
never
the
heard.
football. And fam, after the game, they're looking for that football. Little Nick had a rattler football.
I know. I remember you telling me that he had a football, but I didn't know that you give it to him during that class. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
I walked over. So he's been watching Wildcat football all his life too. So
Oh
he's been
yeah,
around. He's been
my
around.
whole family. Even myself in my youth, we grew up in Daytona at Bethune-Cookman College, now university. Both my sons basically, came up on the sidelines at games with me and watching the Wildcats compete on on the stands and all that kind of stuff. So, because I have an older son who's 25 years old, he was a pretty good ball player himself. But now he's older now, so he's finding his way as an adult, as a father, and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, my boys, like me, kind of just grew up falling in love and watching Bethune-Cookman sports from as soon as they could remember.
We got some interesting things happening with Wildcat Country. I'm going to put up a picture, and you guys tell me who these guys are.
Yeah, those are
The
two of our
Suns.
those are our two big time signees who happen to have some pretty influential fathers in the music industry and in business. We're hoping big things from young Rick Ross's boy, because he's going to be he could be really, really a dominant player on that O line. Get him in the weight room, get him learning the system, utilize some of that athleticism, and then on the other end, the kid out of Oregon, Big Boy's son, the running back. I mean, he's got
Outcast.
tons of talent. He was a highly recruited running back coming out of high school,
Yeah.
and now he's going. I think, and I haven't talked to any of the coaches about what their plans are for him, but just from the film I've watched of him, he's feisty. He's not big, but he's fast. He's tough. He's got really good hands. So I would expect to be using him a whole lot in our third down packages, screens, and swing routes, a little draw here and there. Just get him in space and let him make plays. I
I
think
think
he'll make an immediate impact too. By the way.
Go ahead.
I think you're right on that, because he prepped right up the street. So one of the things, and you know this, it's about where you go. Who's your position coach? Is he lobbying for you to get some playing time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you, do you fit their system?
Yeah.
And Lord knows if the head coach leaves, what that brings. I like what I saw of him in high school, and so I was wondering if he was going to go to a program that utilized his skill sets specifically. And so when he decided to go where he went, I was like, that's okay, but they're not really going to use him
Yeah.
like they could. If you get him one-on-one with a linebacker, oh my God, let him
It's
go.
over. Yeah, it's
Let him
over. It's
go.
a mismatch.
Let
Yeah.
him go.
In
So
some instances, he could be in a mismatch in space against even nickels or safeties as well, just because he has that quickness and toughness. And so I think that Coach Gravino and those guys over there on the offensive side of the ball, I just feel like they've got so many things. That backfield is loaded, and now they just add another weapon. I don't envy Coach Gravino and those guys, because there may not be enough footballs to go around with all that talent we got just in the backfield alone.
Yeah, we just signed another kid that came out of Penn State, Charlotte. and Oklahoma quarterback that played for
Oh yeah, I
Gorman
saw that.
out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, our quarterback room is going to be stacked because
Ooh, it's gonna
we
be
basically
stacked,
got
buddy.
all our guys back from last year. Then we add the
Mm-hmm.
quarterback who had to sit out last year. So that right
Ram.
there, you got four guys, Ransom, you got four guys that have just been literally in the program for a year. And then you add this
Mm-hmm.
kid with his experience and his talent. Uh, that it's camp is going to be interesting. There's competition all over the field at Bethune-Cookman.
I'm calling it jumping on Jesse Street. Here's another thing that we got to look at too. Two coaches coaching their sons this year. You got Eddie George coaching Eric, and you got Woody coaching his son, Woody Jr. from
Yeah,
Cal.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Let me
That's
tell you,
pretty cool.
Eric George is a man child. You
He looks like
understand?
he's a big kid.
I saw him at playing against Kennesaw State, and they couldn't do anything with him. He was in the backfield pressuring. If he wasn't sacking the quarterback, he was pressuring him. And that guy that Kennesaw State had, he's quick, and he's got some wheels on him. And he was right there on his heels almost every time they drop back to pass. You can see Eric George back there, and I'm like, okay, your daddy was on the other side of the ball, so you're inflicting damage on those guys. So I look for
Yeah,
big things from him. Now, I thought he was one of the best true freshmen playing in HBCU football.
that's awesome. I like what I've seen and heard from young Raymond Woody. I'm just going. He says the right things, but also you watch him on the field. He's got really good leadership. One of the things I was thinking to myself, and I was hopeful when I found out almost immediately when I watched him. He's really, really, really been well coached. The coaches that he's experienced at Florida State, and then also out there on the West Coast at where was he at Cal, right? He's really, really been coached well. He knows the game. His eyes are quick. He doesn't waste a lot of space and motion. So whatever the defense calls, he's there. He's probably a step or two ahead of a lot of the guys. And I've even talked with my own son just about finding a way to become a bit of a sponge because I think that Ray can teach my young pup quite a bit about the collegiate game, but also just as far as maturity, making sure that you're saying the right things, you're looking the part, you're in the right position to do things you're supposed to do, and all that kind of stuff. But I really expect I expect him to have a big year. And our defense, everybody saw what our defense did in the back half of the season last year, and those guys, I'm gonna tell you, man, look. We may not need to score a lot of points this season because our defensive team just across the board, and we're not just 11 deep. I mean, we've got competition at every single position, even back there with Woody in the safety position. That room is just talented. So I really expect that he's going to have a real immediate impact and a positive one on a bunch of our kids, on our program. But that defense is going to be must-see TV this year too.
From the HellWildcatsShow.com, I got Daryl Williams on. Daryl, hey man, thanks for coming on, man. I know you just got off a flight, right?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Yes, sir. Just got off a flight. Just got back from the Orlando airport. Glad to be here on the show and be here with each one of you gentlemen and excited about Wildcat football and what's coming in. Most of the guys reported in on this past Friday. And if you were on campus, which I saw you were, Daryl, that, man, amongst the 7-on-7 teams versus the players that were coming in, man, it was just something to behold. Truly.
Okay,
Man.
I'm going to put a picture on the screen and tell me what you think about this person right here.
My man. Let's just say, I tell you what, just everything that was coming from the start of camp that morning, even starting back to last weekend with the women's football clinic and having the teams come and compete for the Queen of the Beach. And then, fast forward to this past weekend, we had the King of the Beach, and then you had high school prospects and all the above around, man. Coach Woody is just doing an awesome job here at Bethune-Cookman, and we're just so blessed to have him. And we're here to support him in every kind of way we can.
Last week I had a guy on by the name of Matt Wilson. And Matt talked to us about the NILs and the things that's going on in college football and the portal. You two guys, Jake, listen to this. You two guys play integral parts in Wildcat football. Because I know, Nick, you have an abundance of former players rallied on one accord. And Daryl, you're doing some stuff. So I want to give you guys an opportunity to kind of talk about what you're doing. D, tell us a little bit about, the 1923 Society. Tell us about that.
Yes, sir. It's a part of the 1904 collective, which is a NIL collective. The 1923 Society is the football entity of the 1904 collective, which, we're trying to grow football, and then we'll move to other sports, and hopefully they will have their own organization. I know you and I have talked about that previously, Mr. Latil, and our thing is to just, without NIL, you're not going anywhere. And, the gentleman you had on the other week, I know he said that, and I know we just moved into the high school part of it. But we here at Bethune-Cookman, since Coach Woody came, we have probably put $25,000 into NIL, into various players, football players here at Bethune-Cookman, trying to assist them with, it's not a pay for play thing by any means. You have to do something to get something. And we have had those players on different stages, different places to, help the community and just, hone in on what NIL is. We're still growing. We're still working on numerous things. And, a lot of the players, and not to knock Bethune, but a lot of the players aren't just landing here because they love Bethune-Cookman. So, campus is nice. The facilities are really nice, but it takes quite a bit more than that to, sway them one way or another. And once they get here and we get them active in the community, as I said earlier, then we are able to push NIL to those players in different forms. So businesses out in the community, persons out in the community, if you need those players, if you need someone to do a program for you, if you need a marketing promotion, we have quite a few of those players signed up under the 1923 Society to do that for you. Reach out to us, the1923society.com. So
okay,
that's what we're here for.
Okay. Before we go to Nick, Jay, you have an opportunity to go to all the MEAC schools, all the SIAC schools, and most of the SWAC schools. So what do you see different now with the portal and NIL stuff? What do you see different in facilities and stuff?
Well, SWAC facilities right now, they might be the best. From all I've seen some.
You're a Morgan State guy, right? Y'all got great facilities.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot that has been done at our universities over the years, and I'm very happy about it, from A to Z, because we know back in the 80s and late 70s what they were trying to do to our universities, and they're still trying to do it today. They tried to merge Albany State. They did merge Albany State. Tried to merge Savannah State. They want to see our schools underneath their umbrella so they can dictate who can and what we can learn. So the NIL and upgrading of the facilities have been crucial to attracting athletes to our universities, because I think once they get there, they'll see that, oh, hey, I like this atmosphere. Yeah. I like this. If they're thinking in those terms. My son is a athlete, college athlete. He didn't have the opportunity to go to HBCU in undergrad because there are no HBC. Well, when he started, there were no HBCUs with lacrosse. Hampton came on board maybe 2 years later, but now he has the opportunity to do it, and he's going to go to Virginia State and play.
Oh, that's
Okay.
awesome.
That's great.
Now, and I say that because lacrosse is geared to us. If you've ever seen it, it is
fast,
physical, fast. It's like basketball, football, and soccer all in one, and you really got to make some hair, quick decisions and eye-hand coordination. When they see us on the field, they because they know. And I've said this to my son. I said, son, do you realize how fast you're running past those guys? And he like, I don't care, like, no, like they're chasing you and they got the angle and you run past the angle. And him and a couple of other guys, it's the same way. So the first thing they want to do is get the ball out your stick. So I think if our universities start and go back, because Morgan has that history with the 10 Bears, if we're able to start attracting, because there's a lot of young Black males playing, and women and girls playing lacrosse now. So that's another avenue where we can succeed. And again, our facilities, Prairie View. Oh my God, Alabama.
Oh, Prairie View, my God.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I just want to go and just hang out. So a lot of it's coming, and I like what they're doing. I think because of the internet, we can show off a little bit more, and we don't have to. We're not kept behind the closed door of the local newspaper.
Right.
We got a lot of people reporting on what we're doing out at our universities now. So I don't know if you knew this, but Xavier is starting a medical school. Someone just signed a deal to do a law school in conjunction with with a white university. But Morgan has its medical school starting this fall. So a lot of what we're seeing with our facilities is campus wide. It is campus wide. It's not just it's really moving. And I think that's got a lot of these schools concerned. Because when you come to our school, there's a vibe. There's a whole vibe. Georgia Tech players hang out at the AUC.
Right.
Anyone who ever graduated from Georgia Tech that played football will tell you they hung out at the AUC. Homecoming at Morehouse and Clark, all you see is, if they not playing, if they have a weekend off, all you see is Georgia Tech. They right there in the thick of it. Along with everybody else, but that's where they come and they get their vibe. Shoot, they come from Athens.
This is true.
They come from Athens. Come on. My son went over to Savannah State for their Orange Crush, which is like their beach party. And at the end of the year beach party, he was like, it was kids from everywhere. So, it's like, yeah, y'all might not want to go to HBCU, but y'all will come to a HBCU.
A few years ago, we had some issues with our program, and we saw what COVID did to it, and back-to-back losing seasons, and things started to kind of fall apart. But this young man right here, Nick Rawls, Nick at Night, helped keep things afloat. He pulled together almost 300 or 400 former players. Nick, kind of tell us about that, what you're doing this.
It kind of just, I grew up Bethune-Cookman College Wildcat. I've got it tattooed on my arm, but as a kid, I've loved that school. I grew up running around the campus, and like I said before, I was blessed to have the opportunity to be a student athlete there. And I've always kind of been a supporter from afar, booster, a little bit of money here and there, this and the third. And post-COVID, a lot of people don't know the whole story. Our coaching staff was furloughed, in COVID. So those guys, obviously nobody can really go out and recruit. So, our head coach who's not with us anymore, but he basically did a whole lot of work by himself. And when we kind of had an in-kind agreement with the coach to become our new head coach when we moved on from Coach Sims, and that didn't work out. And it really frustrated me to a point where I just began to just kind of text guys that I was in contact with. Hey man, look, we've got a lot of skin in this game, right? All of us bled out here, all of us sweat, all of us cried. I mean, Bethune-Cookman College, now university, is a huge reason why we are who we are today. And I said, we need to come together and try to find a way to give support monetarily. Obviously, that's got to be big, right? At Bethune, we've always, and Coach Woody even said this in his opening press conference, and people, they take this for granted. At Bethune, we have always, and that you can attest to this because you're a Wildcat yourself. We've always found a way to do more with less, right? And I think a big part of the more with less part today is hard because, like Daryl alluded to with NIL and facilities you talked about, Jake, and all that kind of stuff. We have to find a way to catch up, right? And the quickest way you catch up is you raise money. The quickest way for an institution, especially a small institution like Bethune, which is by far the smallest institution in the SWAC, was the smallest institution in the MEAC when we were there, right? The quickest way for us to flip things is to get our football ship right? Get our football program back on top because that's the quickest way to get folks to come around and support. And I told our guys, look, man, I'm not the leader here. I'm just a football player that is concerned about our program. And we've been, and I put myself out front too. Like, look, man, I'm just as at fault as any man there, right? Because we played there, and we expect because we played there that we're supposed to get stuff free now, 40 years later. That just ain't the case, right? We owe our institution not only our money, but we owe our institution our time. We owe those kids, our young Wildcats, right? We owe those guys an opportunity to see from whence they came. So we kind of just came together, and we've been working closely with the athletic department, and Bethune has been very receptive. And Coach Woody and that team, the coaches over there, they are busting their butts. They are really finding a way to bring some really top tier players. And I told the guys, look, we talk about this stuff. What are we gonna do, man? How are we gonna have a positive impact on our program? Because as soon as we get our program right, everything changes. Everything changes. And it is going to be a constant work in progress because you're building something that you never had. We never had a consistent support from our former football players, our alumni football players. And so it's almost every single day we're working and talking with each other, trying to figure out, get consistent with, hey guys, let's get $5 a month, right? We got 300 guys in here. We get $300, 300 guys get $5 a month to the football program. That, you know what I mean? That change, that little bit of money begins to compound. We can begin to build some things. So, we're just trying to find a way to have a positive impact on a program that loved on us and gave us a chance to continue to showcase our talent and get an education for free and become the professional men that we are today. But I think it's pretty cool. I think we're headed in the right direction. I think we're in a place that we've never been, especially from an alumni football player support position. So, and I expect that this will be a big year for our football program in the fall, which is going to just open even more doors. And I want us to be at the forefront leading that, assisting Coach Woody and those staff and those kids with whatever we can do to help. Because we've got a lot of guys that have become members of the 1923 Society. It's important. Right, I joined myself. I'm a booster with Cookman, and I'm a member of the 19. Because I know it's important. Daryl, those guys over there doing a damn good job, and y'all keep it up, man. I don't think you guys get it enough. I'm telling you here in front of whoever's watching, you guys are doing a damn good job, and you guys are appreciated. I've talked with my son, and those guys appreciate you guys, the stuff that you guys are doing. It don't matter that nobody ain't getting no $1 million deals, because guess what? If they getting $4, it's $4 more than they had before they got it.
Most
right?
definitely.
And the perspective, it's about perspective, right? You guys are busting your butts to raise money to help support those kids. And those kids are also getting some professional exposure, which is how they are getting those monies, through the NIL. Because that's what, and one of the things Daryl and those guys that I thought was pretty cool last year was you guys had to explain to those kids that, look, you guys see these guys that are getting all this money, they ain't getting it for nothing. You know what I mean?
By any means.
They ain't getting it for nothing, right? Shador Sanders is making all that money in his NIL, but guess what? All those companies are getting something from him. Yes, all those companies are getting something because he's giving them much, much needed added exposure. You know what I mean? So, we're doing our best. It's taking us a little bit longer, but we're gonna have at it. We're gonna keep at it. We're gonna make sure we do have a positive impact. But Daryl is over there, literally in the trenches, busting his tail every single day to help us not only get good players in, you know what I mean, but also put something together that's going to be long lasting to support our program.
D, I just got a text saying she's watching Miss Westine Bob Hayes' daughter.
Yeah, definitely.
She's watching. She's a big part of what you do too. Tell us some more about what to expect on the yard this year.
Well, just to a little bit to give Nick and the football players, the former football players, some kudos. And I know you saw it, Daryl. Nick, I don't know when the last time you've been over there, but we undertook a project of the grass practice field. And if you have not seen that grass practice field, I mean, it was immaculate this weekend.
So recently.
Yeah.
I haven't been over in a while. But I will be over there in the next couple of weeks.
Luscious green, and thankful to the maintenance guys over at Bethune-Cookman. But I mean, it looks great. It almost looks like a golf course out there.
I saw
we had 350 kids playing 7-on-7.
And when I saw that, I was like,
6 games at one time on
the field. That's awesome, man. We talked about this last year, right?
Yes, definitely.
That practice field is going to be huge. The grass and the turf. Having those two things at the same time that are being usable, right? Those things. Right. That's a big deal for our kids. That's a big deal for recruiting. That's a big deal for those camps that Coach Woody and those guys are able to put on. Yeah, it's important. It is definitely important.
Definitely so. Just a little bit, Daryl, to tell you, man. I mean, what between the former football players and Hill Wildcats Gridiron Club and the 1923 Society, man, I can tell you personally that there was one of the players that we just got in who, I mean, he was a week away from hanging his cleats up and going to take a job at an insurance firm out in California. So the testament of, us working together collectively, seeing what we could do for the young man to assist him and help him keep the cleats on for a little bit longer. And as we know, he committed to Bethune-Cookman and is now on campus, arrived on Wednesday. And that's just numerous players, man. There is huge excitement on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University. Another testimony from the players. So you guys have dined in the calf before. I've been in there numerous times. Just finally ate in there for my first time on Friday. But prior to that, about a month or so ago, I was talking to some of the new players that we've had come from like Cal and University of Arizona. And do you know where they said they've gotten the best meal from? The calf on Bethune-Cookman University. Yeah, true story.
Not them beanies and weenies I used to eat back in the 70s.
I kid you not, man. I had to do a double take, and but that's the truth. This football team is a huge brotherhood. I've never seen. As long as I've been around football, and all of us have been around a long time, I've never seen the cohesiveness between a group of football players as I'm seeing now. And they come from all different walks of life, but it's a testament to the head coach that we have and what he stands for. If you got under 3.0, don't worry about coming to Bethune-Cookman University because he ain't gonna have it.
Gotta have a 3.0.
As he says, the standard is the standard. That's how it's going to be. And if you're not bringing the standard, again, don't worry about coming around. We take, and I know Nick does also, but numerous calls throughout the day from different members of the staff and things of that nature for assistance. This is a university, a football staff who's about the community, putting back in the community. As you mentioned earlier, there's 24 7-on-7 teams from as far down as Miami, Port St. Lucie, Tampa, everywhere. I I even had a friend bring her son down for the big man camp that we had on campus this past weekend. And she was like, my son just loved it, here at Bethune-Cookman. But that's that staff. They meet, they take everything serious, and they give back. And that's what all we're trying to do with the 1923 Society. Assist the players on the Gridiron Club side. We're trying to assist the football program, and we don't have a lot, but what we do have is faith, and we continue to carry on and do what we can do to just help a little bit. And I have the faith that we will grow it big. We're working on some big things right now. We have someone who's one of our staff members, a part of the Gridiron Club, is connected with someone who just won an MVP trophy in the basketball championship. So we're working with him and trying to get some things done, amongst others, to pull some things together and help us out with players and help out the program. So, yeah.
Okay. Jake, we're playing Clark Atlanta here in Daytona, man. It'd be a good time to come test some Bethune Grill wings again, buddy.
Look, be easy on them, man. They you talk about a program that has been in disarray for the last almost 10 years. And the president is trying to right the ship. He's a good dude. He was at Miles, he was at Fort Valley before that. And he's a great guy. And he's trying to get the ship righted. But again, right now, Clark, most people don't know this, but Clark is almost 75% female.
Wow.
That's like cooking.
Wow.
That's like cooking.
Yeah,
But
so football players are in short supply.
one of my prayer partners is a coach there, EJ Jr., former linebacker for the Miami Dolphins, and he played at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I pray every morning. He sends me a text every morning. He's a defensive coach there, and I look forward to seeing him when they come down here for the season. All right, we're gonna switch gears right now. We're gonna get out of BCU a little bit. We're gonna get into the national spotlight. So I'm gonna put up a picture, and I want everybody to give me their spiel on. We're gonna go into international sports right now. Tell me what you think about this young lady right here.
Speed.
She's phenomenal.
Shakari is something else.
Yes.
You know what? She was a roommate of a young lady I used to mentor from Miami.
Awesome.
What's her name? Mason. She transferred from University of Miami and went to LSU, and she was roommates with Shakari back in Shakari's sophomore year. So this young lady, we saw her not make the 2020 team, but the 2024 team in Paris, I look for her to break some world records. What you guys think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. She's on fire right now. She's on fire right now. I love the growth and maturity that we've seen with her over the last 2 to 3 years. Just watching her grow up and when that microphone gets in front of her, she really does not take her physical skills. She doesn't take it for granted. She honors those blessings. She honors her grandmother, and she goes out there, man, and she just leads. You watch when she won that 100 meters at the trials. Watch how those young ladies just came together and just hugged each other. She led them. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to watch her watch our track team in the Olympics, because that's what we all watch, right? Everybody looking for track.
All right, here's the biggest one.
Ooh.
Ooh. You know,
no nepotism. No nepotism.
Hold on. Let me say this. There, and I covered NBA for a number of years, and I'm going to say this: there are some guys who made some teams that probably wouldn't have made a team, but there was a guy here, played for the Hawks. Last name was Esteban. I think that was his last name. And he was 6'8", 6'9", couldn't put a layup in. So when they talk about, Bronny and whether or not he should have been drafted, that's neither here nor there. because we know you can put it.
You got
There's a lot of people have been in that played in the league that probably shouldn't have played in the league.
Right.
You know, if you listen to any of the podcasts, those guys have said it repeatedly. Oh, that guy, this, that, and the other. You know, he was a plumber with shorts on. You know, so you know.
I think he's a phenomenal athlete. So I know he grew up in a basketball household. Obviously, his dad has been doing it for 20 years, and he'll go down as one of the top 3 to 5 players in the history once he walks away. The nepotism thing, I don't care. I mean, everybody does it, right? But me personally, I've watched him. You know, you got to figure he learned a lot from his father about taking care of his body, about professionalism, about the sport. He looks like he's even gotten better. You know, when he went into the combine area,
definitely
he performed pretty well there. So you know, I don't think you can. I don't think you can just say that just because of his daddy. You know what I mean? If he makes that team, you got to figure he's probably because he's a good doggone player. But I think he's probably one of the better athletes that came into the draft. So we'll see.
First ballot Hall of Famer from Daytona Beach, Mainland High School. Half man, half amazing.
One of the nicest guys I've ever met.
Definitely.
The greatest dunker in NBA history.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's not even close. It's not even close.
And
my frat brother, by the way.
He is.
And he's my frat brother, by the way.
He had a gala last night that was unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Unreal.
Yes. That is what I've heard.
I was glad he got a chance to play here because we got a chance to see him. I mean, he was in his career, but man, the things he used to do on the court.
That in-game stuff, that's just crazy. He was doing dunk contest dunks in game.
In game.
Freakish athlete too. Freakish athlete.
Okay, I'm gonna go to some local kids now. I had opportunity to see this young man at the 7-on-7 from my old high school, Mainland High School. This young man right here, Mr. Christian Hudson.
Huh?
He ranks number 22 defensive tackle in the nation. ESPN top 300 player. Nice kid, mannerable kid off the state championship team at Mainland.
He's a 4-star now, right?
Yes, he is a
4-star.
Over the weekend, he pushed him up to 4-star. Going to make his commitment, I believe, July 6th. He's going to make his commitment.
He's made his decision.
Yeah. I think it's between Iowa State, Maryland, UCF, and there's one more in there.
Sounds to me like he's coming to Orlando. Sounds to me like he's coming to Orlando based on what you just said to me.
He don't want to go out to Iowa.
He don't want to go Iowa.
I was with his dad in the 7, and he was tight-lipped about it. So I'll work on
nothing out there but bland potatoes and unseasoned chicken.
Our basketball coach signed 2 studs from Mainland High School.
Yes.
Angelo Matrix Max and Naron the Thrill Thomas coming to play in Moore Gymnasium. Boy, I'm telling you, I know 10 people already want season tickets.
Thomas, and here's the thing, Nat. I think Thomas's dad is Tavon Thomas, my former football teammate at Bethune-Cookman College, and his uncle, Delvin Thomas, was a great player at Bethune-Cookman in basketball in the late 90s as well. So he's got a Bethune-Cookman lineage as well. So that's the second generation athlete right there coming home. But yeah, those guys, mainly Joe Giddens. Joe Giddens is doing great things over there.
Joe, my guy.
Hey, I saw him his first year take a group of guys that basically wasn't even basketball players and whoop up on people and make it to during their state. And that's
this young man.
About him.
This young man, 10 years old, my cousin, Devon McMillan, the number 22 player in the nation. He played in a game yesterday. They didn't give him a number. He wore X. That's how bad he was. And when I had the NIL guy on, and he talked about grooming these kids for the NIL, starting before you get to middle school, the social media and the highlight film. This kid's dad has the highlight tape on him. He's one of the top players in the nation. He runs track with PJ Smith. And this young man right here, I got to give him my props because that's my blood. Devon McMillan. Remember that name. Devon, his dad was a quarterback at Mainland back in the day who passed away, Dwight McMillan. That was his grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see what else I got, man. Let's see what else I got. This young man won back-to-back state championships at Mainland High School women's basketball.
The women's basketball coach. Yeah, I thought he looked familiar.
Yes, sir. That's Brandon Stewart.
Yes.
Brandon's now going to St. Thomas Aquinas, down there where all the big money is. He probably coaching Michael Irvin's niece or daughter somewhere.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, that's big up for him, man. Just to be in that St. Thomas lore, and we all know him for football, but all their sports that's basically a JUCO.
Them and IMG, right?
They're just below IMG, right?
Yeah, definitely so.
Okay, let's see what
I got something for you.
What you got?
And I'm pitching this to some friends is that season tickets at our games aren't ridiculously expensive, but to buy tickets and give them to some high school kids for each game, challenge your friends, buy 10 tickets. That might be $100, right? To give them to a teacher or high school coach. Say, bring your kids. Here 10 tickets. Come on through. And that gives them exposure to your university.
It's a fundraiser too.
Yeah, it's a good fundraiser. Puts people in the seats.
That's a great idea.
And I'm consistently urging people to pay your lifetime dues, and to do an endowment because your schools can do so much more with an endowment. But so look into those. Those are great ways to help fund whatever you might, whether it's the football, like the 1923 Society, get an endowment because that endowment can then be invested and then that money can grow. So that's things that I'm looking at doing personally because I believe in my school, what it did for me and what it's done for so many others. And I want all our schools to be at the point where we are not beholden to somebody to give us a handout.
Definitely.
Not that we do, but we, be self-sufficient to be able to be at that top tier and have that money. Oh, you need a scholarship? Got you. And I love to be able to. I think we just gave 2,000 scholarships at Morgan. So because of people, the giving program, and people who are government employees, they can give every paycheck, and it's a pre-tax. You got to get that, Right. So that's just that's other ways to give back. If you got a charitable donation, like if you got a charitable a charity, you can actually sign up for that so that people can give from their paycheck pre-tax.
That's a great idea. All those are great ideas.
Yeah. Great idea.
I'm gonna steal a few of those, by the way.
I want to change the mood. I want to change the mood for a minute. Today is June the 30th, and in the month of June, I lost 3 former teammates.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I want to honor them right now. I lost a guy out of New Smyrna, man, yesterday. His son coaches at Sanford. His other son is a running back for the Buffalo Bills, Derry Evans, one of my prep partners. We lost him yesterday. I lost a linebacker from Mainland High School, played with me, Maurice Strap, and my offensive tackle when I was in junior high playing quarterback. My offensive tackle Sherman Cummins passed over in Houston, Texas. So I lost three teammates. They all like the podcast. They all like the locker room. And for a moment, I want to give a moment of silence for those 3 guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I got some things coming up. Let me show you what I got coming. Let's see what I got coming up here. The class of 1976, that's me. August 17th, 2024, we're going to have our backyard bash at the Hunt House. DJ True Platinum. True Platinum was a linebacker at Mainland High when I played. His name is, oh my God, he going to kill me. Darren. Darren, he's going to be playing the music for us. We're gonna invite everybody out that weekend to the backyard at the Hunt House just to do some stuff on the class of 1976. Myself, Ken Scott, and Daryl Raines, we're having that event. Another event that's coming up, Fashion in Blanc, Fashion in White. That's Kim Moten. We all know she has a great beauty salon, but she throws a heck of a fashion show. I think last year she had Betty Wright's daughter singing on the runway.
Oh, wow.
So she'll be doing her thing later on here in July. So that's also coming up. Any of you guys got anything you want to go before we get off here?
I'm just ready for football season, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm ready too, baby.
I am,
hey,
I'm just ready for football season. I really am. I'm excited to see what our guys are gonna put together in this fall. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Bethune-Cookman University.
They are.
I read an article where it was in one article I saw that they predicted us to be a sleeper, someone to watch out for. And I truly believe that defense is going to be phenomenal. Coach Garbino and with the talent the coach Woody and those guys have put together, they should be exponentially better from an offensive standpoint. I know they beefed up our old line and all that kind of great stuff. So I'm excited to see these guys really go out and compete and show folks that Bethune-Cookman College football, Bethune-Cookman University football is on its way back.
SWAC Media Day is the 16th.
There you go.
So, a couple weeks
over in Birmingham at the Sheraton. So if you got any Wildcat alumni in the area, let them know.
to find the Jake the Snake.
There you go. There you go.
Football season is fastly coming. I mean, they're going to be reporting for camp soon. We have the Atlanta Open, and Venus Williams and Sloane Stephens are going to be here the end of July. And then I'm going to be primed for football season. I already did my schedule of where I'm going, what games I'm covering, all the way through to December, where the Celebration Bowl is going to be here again. We got the MEAC SWAC Challenge. So it's going to be on and cracking. We're going to see what everybody got.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes,
I love the competitive nature of HBCU football, but more than anything, when I walk in the stadium, it feels like home.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
I've done the UGAs. I've done the Georgia Techs and LSU.
Yeah.
Don't nothing touch HBCU football.
Hey, and once again, I'm your famous photo. The most famous photo right there in the. I met him in the rain in Atlanta. At Mark Brown.
And if I'm out there with my cameras and stuff in the rain, it's
$1 million cameras you got, boy. You got a lens this big.
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. I love every now and then I'll go back and start looking through those pictures, and I have a couple of books out already. One on HBCU classics, one on HBCU bands, and I haven't even touched a quarter of the images that I have, and I have a lot of Bethune-Cookman from Florida Classics.
I know you do. I know you do. You gotta have pictures of every black athlete that's ever come through Atlanta.
Look for
Alan Suba. I got pictures of Suba back in the day.
Look in your Rolodex for some pictures of number 26 in the late 95 to 99 at Bethune-Cookman.
Well, I didn't get here. I was in Texas. I was in Texas those days. I was in Texas till 99, and I went to Virginia.
Dang.
So by the time I got here, you had already gone.
So I missed the boat. I missed the boat to get pictures taken of me by the famous photographer.
Yeah, man. Now your son down in Daytona for that Alabama State game.
Okay.
10-4.
Oh, you gonna be at Alabama State game? Okay.
I think I'm gonna come down. I'm planning to come down for that game.
Okay.
To give you a little bit on that game, Nat, I know you can talk a little bit about it, but Alabama State, they've got one of Daytona Beach's top doggone football players, Mainland's top football players, right out of doggone Daytona Beach. He's a class of 23. He and my son went back and forth at one point in receiving yards in the state of Florida in their senior year, and I hate that kid left Daytona. God dog it. I wish we could have kept him, but I understand he grew up in Daytona, want to get opportunity.
Yeah, he's at Alabama State, and his brother at Alabama.
At Alabama, yes.
That's one of the top corners at Alabama.
Yep,
Two of the best athletes ever come out of Daytona, both of them in Alabama.
Yep.
Wow.
That's gonna be a good game there. I talked to John. I talked to his dad, and they're really excited about that. He talked a little, gave me a little jab and said, "Well, I want to see what my boy and your boy do against each other because they're gonna be facing off. Hopefully, if my boy does what he needs to do, he's gonna get an opportunity to get in between those lines on Saturdays this fall. So if he does what he's supposed to do, I'm really excited to see those two kids. Just kind of get an opportunity to go out and run around the field and in front of their families.
And Alabama State got that body kid from Houston, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of movement in all, after that season ended, man. There was a lot. So, but I like what Coach Robinson is doing over there down in Montgomery. There's a lot of good stuff being done at a lot of schools, and
man.
I'm just happy to see them when they get out there and play to their potential. One of those teams that will surprise everybody is Miles College.
Oh man, they beat Alabama State.
They sure did.
It's a tough program. Those guys are tough out there.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Daryl, our friend Hugh Jackson. Guess where he is now? Georgia State.
Georgia State. I saw that the other day, man.
Was he a recruiting coordinator out there?
Yeah. I think he's coaching defense. I think.
He's coaching. Okay, I thought.
Now I remember him when he was on the staff at the Falcons. I actually posted a photo of him some months ago because I think he was probably about 45 pounds lighter. He looked like a kid. I'm serious. He looked like he was probably about 25 years old when I took that picture of him.
I think we know one of the reasons why he gone from Grambling. We ain't telling. We was on that trip together. Us three right here was together on the trip, but we won't tell. We not telling. Yes, and Nick, anytime you on a trip with me, buddy, I got you. All right.
Hey, I always appreciate you, Nat. My entire life, man. You've always been so positive and uplifting. Even when I was there at Bethune, you just always showed sincere love, and it's the reason why folks always gravitate to you, and folks want to just be around you, man. You're just a great dude, man. Just a genuine, humble, loving, caring man. I mean, you are appreciated, man. I want to give you your flowers, sir. You are appreciated. You're a huge part of Bethune-Cookman culture, Bethune-Cookman football, media, anything you can think, man. You touching all walks of that institution, and you are appreciated. Even this new thing you're doing here with this locker room, man, this thing's gonna be big, man. People really want to hear what you got to say because there's a lot of folk out there that respect and appreciate you with all work you've done all these years.
Definitely.
I appreciate that, man. You know what? I'm out of time. Definitely never out of word. You've been watching the Lockeroom podcast. We'll be back with more in a couple of weeks. Good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Good night.
Wildcats.
Thank y'all. Bye-bye.